After selling on Amazon for about 6 years now, I've made some seriously expensive mistakes that you need to avoid. Because I see Amazon sellers make these 4 common mistakes all the time, and these cost me personally over $10,000 in my business. When it comes to selling name brand products on Amazon, it definitely takes a lot of the guesswork out, a lot of the potential mistakes that you can make by trying to create your own product or doing wholesale, but there's still a few major pitfalls that you can definitely fall for very easily if you don't know what to look for. So let's get into this video because it's going to help you keep more of your hard-earned Amazon profits in your pocket. So the first mistake that I made, probably one of the earliest mistakes that I made in my online arbitrage business, I get questions about this one all the time of people falling into the exact same trap, is not understanding when certain variations on a product sell super well and which ones don't. Because how a lot of the most profitable products on Amazon work is you'll have a really fast selling listing with, let's say, 3 different versions of the product. It's a 1-pack, a 2-pack, and a 3-pack. And you might say, whoa, this 3-pack is selling for 5 times more per bottle than that 1-pack. You'll see that happen more often than you think. But at the end of the day, you still have to make sure that super expensive, super profitable listing is actually going to sell well on Amazon. And I definitely didn't know what to look out for in the beginning and got stuck with some very slow moving products. So to show you specifically what I mean, let's just go ahead and dive into the computer behind me. I'll show you an example of a product and show you what to look out for with some specific data points. So when it comes to figuring out which variation, which specific type of product on a big listing with lots of different sizes, colors, multi-packs, whatever it is, whatever category you're in, the BSR on this listing, the sales rank right here is telling us basically how fast this item sells in comparison to all the other clothing and shoes products on Amazon. This sales rank and this estimated sales number, as you can see on SellerAmp, this is split between all the different variations and all the different colors, sizes, that type of stuff. So when I was a beginner Amazon seller, I wasn't super aware of that, and I see a lot of other new Amazon sellers making that same mistake, costing themselves hundreds, thousands of dollars if they're not really sure what to look at. So let me show you just my super simple process here to figure out basically which of these variations is going to sell super well and which of these you would want to avoid, the type of thing that would probably cause you to lose some money. To do a quick eyeball check on some of these listings, the first thing I like to check is just down here on the new offer count. If I ever see sellers hopping on and seller count going down and back up and back down, that shows me that there is good fluctuation in terms of how many people are actually able to stay in stock. On a listing that doesn't sell tends to have a very stable new offer count. There's no one really wanting to hop on because it's not selling. There's definitely no one hopping off because they're not able to sell out when they have stock. So just a super quick litmus test here. If I see a new offer chart that tells me that this variation probably sells a little bit, but let's dig in a little bit deeper and see if we can figure out specifically how fast it sells. So to do that, I like to go to the data offers tab of Keepa. This basically shows us everyone's stock count and price over the past whatever time period here. So you can go 365, all-time view, that type of thing. And so this is super valuable if you want to figure out even more closely, basically, is my product going to sell, and is my product going to sell for the price that I want it to sell as well? So I'm going to go ahead and include the historical offers. So anyone who's ever sold out, we want to have them on here as well. I usually filter this by that sold 30 days metric, and you can see a perfect example right here. So on June 24th, they had 6 in stock, and you can see them gradually start selling some of those products right there. And so this tells me, number one, hey, this product might actually sell. And I can see, hey, there's more sellers where their stock count is decreasing as well. And another seller right there. And you're not seeing a lot of sellers getting just stuck in their inventory. Their inventory is flatlining. It's just sitting there. And the other thing of this is we can basically justify, hey, if I can sell this product for, in this case, like 48 bucks or so, and I'm making profit, and the offers tab shows me people actually want to pay that price, then I'm definitely making some money. So here we can see like that June 24th is when they started making sales. And on June 24th, if we zoom out, their price was like 50 bucks or so. So if you found this product profitably and you can sell it for 50 bucks, you dive into this offers tab and you say, hey, this specific variation, it's selling a little bit. This guy was making some sales at that price that I know I'm profitable. That's a super easy, just quick test to again verify if that product actually sells. We can also go into the variations tab here, and I'm just going to grab the ASIN from SellerAmp right here. It's basically like Amazon's custom UPC barcode, if you want to think of it that way. And the reason why this is another valuable data point to check here is because it's going to show us how many basically ratings this specific product has. So I'm going to take that into the ASIN column. I'm going to paste it right there. So for example, this product we can see has about 25 of the almost 100 reviews on this product, right? So it shows me that right here, that's 2% of the overall sales, more or less, might be going to this variation. And you can also see recently there's been a couple increases in how many ratings are on this product, right? You got to figure the review rate on Amazon is extremely low. It's somewhere between 1 in every 50 to 100 on most listings. Very uncommon for people to actually go in and leave 1 star, 5 stars, whatever it is. And so on something like this, we can see that ratings count is increasing. It's not the fastest selling variation by any means. And we can actually use this to also find and figure out what that fastest selling variation is. Because if I go in here and I filter by ratings count, you can see this this one is gaining ratings much faster than that first one we're looking at. So it looks like more recently has been selling even faster than this one. Even though the overall ratings count is about the same, this one we can see for whatever reason has gotten super popular recently. There's been almost a review every few days, every week on this product, right? So that's another indicator that, hey, these variations up here towards the top, these sell probably the best of all these variations. And if I go the opposite route and I say, hey, these have literally 0 ratings here, these have had 1 rating for like forever here, if I zoom out to the year-long view. So these probably aren't selling quite as well, if at all. And personally, when I'm looking at these products and figuring out if a variation is actually going to be worth me selling, I usually want to see at least 2 or 3 recent review count increases that shows that product actually sells. And I want to see a multiple different sellers down here on the offers tab making a couple sales basically. The second big mistake, and this one's also product research related, you can definitely stumble across this one. And one time I bought about $5,000 worth of a product a little bit too early into my business. I got a little bit eager on a product where I didn't know what to look out for with this specific mistake. Some of the most popular best-selling listings on Amazon can look like an absolutely amazing product, but for one reason or another, if you try to sell on that listing, you can struggle to get any of the buy box, which is that add to cart button on almost any Amazon listing. This is another thing that takes all of 5 seconds to check and literally would have saved me $5,000 buying a product that just simply didn't sell for me because I didn't know what to look for. So let's dive back into the data on the computer and I'll show you what to look at. So this first example product here would have saved me literally thousands of dollars when I was starting to sell on Amazon myself. And I just want to show you what to look for so that it's super simple in the data. But if you're a brand new Amazon seller, I definitely didn't know this. It cost me a lot of money. So please implement this in your business. It'll save you a bunch of money. And basically what it is when we're looking at products like this that we think we can sell on Amazon, let's say we found this product for 15 bucks, seems like a great product, right? But a lot of products on Amazon, even though there might be a good amount of sellers on this listing, so you can see here on SellerAmp, there is between 7 to up to 15 sellers. That tends to be a really sweet spot in terms of the best products that we can sell on Amazon, where it's not just like the one single brand owner on it. It's not just Amazon on the listing by themselves. There's lots of other third-party sellers, but sometimes, and this is definitely true on this listing, the company might be working directly with a specific Amazon seller where they own the brand registry, or you'll also see this where Amazon themselves sells on the listing and they just simply do not share sales with third-party sellers. And that reflects when we look at the buy box analysis chart on SellerAmp here, right? So we can see pattern right here. They're one of the biggest sellers on Amazon. They're partnered with a bunch of brands exclusively. Honestly, it's a good rule of thumb if you ever see one of these giant mega sellers on there, make sure that the buy box is being shared. Pattern tends to be working directly with a lot of these brands, and in this case, they're winning 97% of the sales on this listing, even though there's plenty of other sellers who are right around the same price who should theoretically be making sales. See, there's a couple at 32 bucks right there with them. They're still able to hog a ton of the sales on this listing, and on this listing, that's either because they have a deal with the brand registry or they're using something that you can also use in your own business that can make your listings eventually almost bulletproof against your competition. And that's simply staying in stock on these listings for as long as humanly possible. So I would imagine with a product like this, it's selling almost 15,000 times a month in the top 1,000 products in the vitamin category. So this product is absolutely flying. And the longer they're able to stay in stock and be basically the only seller who's consistently in stock, the more Amazon is going to trust that storefront and say, hey, this is a serious Amazon seller. Every time that we give the sale to this seller, there's no crazy returns. Customers are happy. The product's getting well reviewed. And so over time, even though your business is probably not as giant as Pattern, they have hundreds of thousands of feedback. I've seen this in my own business where we're able to consistently restock a certain product. And over time, you can start to hog more and more of the sales on that listing. So that is a major gem that I want to make sure you guys are aware of. As you're finding those products where you're able to consistently stay in stock, do everything that you can to stay there, because over time, it's going to increase the sales on the listing, boost the profit in your Amazon business. And on the flip side, just make sure you do this super quick check on the buy box analysis to make sure it's not getting hogged by one certain seller. You can also see this on listings like Puma shoes here, for example. So we can see Amazon is pretty consistently on this listing here on the charts feature on SellerAmp. And when we check out the buy box analysis tab here, we're going to see a very similar story where Amazon is winning 98% of the sales and Zappos is the other 2%. That's a huge company, which is also Amazon owned. So it's not probably going to be a great product for us to sell here. Now, keep in mind, just because Amazon is on a listing doesn't mean you can't compete with them though. And let me find an example to show you what I mean. So for example, here we're on that same listing. Amazon sells a ton of these shoes, for example, but when we're checking out the charts down here on Keepa, we can see that Amazon consistently gets a lot of the sales. See up there on the top bar, it shows me that Amazon is getting that buy box. But right now, since this third-party seller is priced below Amazon, they're actually getting a lot of the sales on this listing. And you can see this play out over a long period of time as well. So in this case, they've only had the sales on this listing for a few days right now, but you will see some listings where Amazon just for some reason never lowers their price. They stay way above a lot of third-party sellers and they let let third-party sellers make all the sales. So I say that to emphasize that you can compete with Amazon on a lot of these listings. It just takes a little bit of know-how to look into the data and make sure that the buy box is rotating, because that buy box rotation issue definitely cost me a lot of money as a new Amazon seller, and now it shouldn't cost you money. Another mistake that I made cost me a couple $1,000 early on in my Amazon business, because I just thought that we had to do this as Amazon sellers. And if you've ever sold a product directly to a customer using FBM, where you take a product, you list it, and then whenever it sells, you ship the product directly to an Amazon customer, you've probably gotten a message before where they claim they didn't receive the package. And as a newbie Amazon seller, I thought that we just had to refund those customers. It was part of doing business on Amazon, but it's absolutely not, as long as you're buying shipping through Amazon, which is insured. So this one's really not too complicated at all. There's no complicated data or anything for us to dive into. Just a simple pro tip that if you're doing an Amazon FBM order and they say, hey, I never got my product, all you need to do is send them a message that says something along the lines of, hey, check with your neighbors, check with the leasing office if you live in an apartment. Just a quick list of places where that package might have showed up and they missed it. Maybe a family member already brought it in for them. And then as long as they go through that process and they know that item didn't actually show up, don't refund them. Amazon will refund that customer for you. So just direct them to open a case with Amazon. Tell them to let Amazon know that their package shows delivered, but they never actually got it. And Amazon is the one who's on the hook. Since you bought that insured shipping, Amazon is going to pay for that refund to the customer and not you. Again, that's a super simple thing, but I get asked about that pretty often, and I made that mistake. It's pretty easy to understand how you could make that mistake. So if that happens, now you don't have to waste that money. Another really big thing that cost my Amazon business thousands of dollars was including my cash back in my margins. So if you're not exactly sure what I mean by that, whenever we're buying profitable products online, there's almost always a way for you to boost those margins, get extra bonus money in your pockets. And cash back is one of my favorite ways to do that, because all you have to do is basically click the link through a Rakuten or a Top Cashback. And when you do that on sites where you're already finding profitable inventory, you're going to get a certain percentage of that money that you spend right back in your pocket. But a mistake that I and tons of other new Amazon sellers made was including that cash back in your margin. And to break down why this is a bad idea and show you how to maximize cash back and get as much free money back in your business as possible, let me dive back into the computer here. And real quick, before we get into this next mistake, I just want to quickly mention that if you don't already have a free trial of Boxum, we just launched our brand new shipping and analytics software. It's the fastest on the market and it's cheaper than any other competitive tool. So if you want to save hours and hours on your shipping to Amazon workflow, especially compared to the Seller Central or any existing inventory software you might already be using, go ahead and get a free trial down below and let me know what you think. So when it comes to using cash back in your Amazon business, it's an awesome way to get that extra free margin in your Amazon business. But like we were talking about, do not include it in the margin on your product, because when we dive into, let's say like this pair of shoes we were looking at earlier, bought it for $22, just hypothetically here. If we dive into Cashback Monitor, which basically aggregates a lot of the different cashback services that are out there. So you can see Be Frugal today, they have the best cashback rate. So every $1 we spend, we're going to get 10 cents back. But the really important thing to remember is that these cashback rates are not at all guaranteed, because especially for most of these services, they technically don't like resellers, and you might have varying mileage between some websites. They might pay you out 0% of the time. Some websites might pay you out every single time. And so it's just a good way to treat cashback as bonus money. Make sure you're diving in onto tools like Cashback Monitor to make sure that it is absolutely maximized in your Amazon business. But don't make the mistake of going into like SellerAmp and saying, hey, I get 10% off because I have 10% cash back here. And this was a really big one for my business early on, because I didn't really know that I wasn't supposed to include it in my margin. I went back and checked and said, hey, I'm only getting paid for half, 60% of these or so. And so if you're making that an integral part of the decision where it's not profitable without the cash back, but it is, and it doesn't hit, you're running a break-even business, and that is not exactly what we want to be doing. So treat that cash back as bonus money. Make sure you're maximizing it as much as possible with Cashback Monitor, and you'll be set. So now that you know how to save some serious money in your Amazon business, let me know down in the comment section if this was helpful for you. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Always happy to answer those down below for you. Go ahead and hit that subscribe, the like button, all that kind of stuff while you're down there. That helps me out with the YouTube algorithm for helping out your Amazon business here today. But I really appreciate you watching this video, and I will see you next time.